It is no surprise. I love email marketing, and I believe it should be a tool and strategy that you use inside of your coaching business, and in fact, every coaching business. Today, I'm bringing on a guest that is going to help you really be convinced to double down on this strategy and why I believe it's going to help you reach your clients easier and faster in 2026. Welcome to another episode of the Best Damn Coach podcast. I am joined by a guest today. Miss Allison Hardy is here. We're talking all things email marketing. I'm just super pumped to have this conversation, to be a total geek with you about this, and grateful that you carved out the space for us.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation.
We met through a mutual connection. Shout out to Belinda. I got to participate in your CEO Moms kind of combined summit that you guys shared, which was super fun. I met some amazing people through that. So thank you again for having me. And when we were chit-chatting and I knew you were like a geek on email marketing, it's like we should definitely be on each other's shows because this is such a great opportunity for conversation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every business needs email marketing. It's not like there's a business that shouldn't have email marketing. So I'm excited to dig in.
Agreed. So before we talk about email marketing, I would love for you to give my listeners just some context. So in like 90 seconds, 2 minutes, tell us how you got to becoming like this email marketing guru expert.
Yeah, well, I got laid off when I was 6 months pregnant from what I thought was my dream job. I was teaching college level art. I did all the right things and then it was gone. And like when you're teaching college level art, it's not like there's other jobs out there. Like it's a very niched job. So shockingly, I couldn't find a job. So I was like, you know what? This is going to sound absolutely bananas, but I'm going to start a fitness business. I had run track at the college level and competed at the national level. And I was very much so into like the fitness world. So I was like, yep, let's do this. So I started a fitness business at 6 months pregnant and very quickly realized that I had just built another 9 to 5 for myself. I was very much so in a trading dollars for hours situation. And so, I've got a little guy at home and a good hearty dose of postpartum depression. And I was like, okay, like obviously I need to take a break from business, but I have to still make money. So like, what does that look like? So that's when I got super nerdy about email marketing because I just needed something to work for me while I was healing and like tending to my family and like feeling better. Like I just needed that space. So that's what email marketing did for me was it allowed me to sell on autopilot while I wasn't working. And then, people started being like, hey, can you teach me what you're doing? And I was like, it's not hard. But come to find out, people thought it was actually really hard. So then I just started doing it for other people and kind of developed the system. And here we are today. And that baby is now 12 years old.
So cool. I didn't know we both came up in the health and nutrition side or health business side of things. So that's super cool. That's where it kind of originated for both of us. Okay, kudos. It's funny because my first exposure to email marketing was actually through a friend who was a personal finance blogger, and he introduced me to this whole concept of email marketing. And so I feel like the beginning for me used to be like join my newsletter, which doesn't work anymore. So if you're listening and you just heard call to action, join my newsletter, we can talk about why that's not a great best practice and you can do something better instead. But in the day, I mean, it decently grew things because there was, not much saturation, but kudos to personal finance blogging because I learned how to blog and grow my email list and I got smarter than join my newsletter. But I've also been email marketing, using email marketing. And I know early on, I made this really huge commitment to myself that I would email my list every single week consistently without fail. I've done that solidly for 8 years, which I'm super proud of. But it's definitely evolved into different things now because what used to work, what I found experience, was working for me then is very different now. And I think this is one of those adaptability things in business is you, as much as we'd like to, like you can't really set it and forget it. Right? There are things that we need to watch and monitor. I used to say I never wanted to be a filing cabinet teacher and you just like it's January, you pull out the lessons because I've always done it this way. So I share all that to kind of ask you like, first, can you just speak to like why you believe email marketing is a necessity for every business, but also specifically since we're talking to coaches for a coaching business?
Yeah, for sure. So email marketing isn't algorithm dependent. So you don't have to like be best friends with the algorithm in order for your content to get seen. So if that's not enough, email marketing is also meant for sales. So like on social, like let's say Instagram, for example, it doesn't want you leaving the platform. It's not going to make it easy for your people who are following you to be like, yes, I want to go download that resource or listen to that podcast that's off the platform. The email marketing is designed to make it easier for people to go off the platform and go to a sales page or the podcast or, whatever the thing is that it is. So the fact that it's designed for sales, designed to drive traffic, and designed to not have an algorithm associated with it, like for me is hands down the three top reasons why you should lean into email marketing. And that's if you want a sustainable business. Like some people don't, they want those fast cash injections. And while those are great and wonderful, like I would argue sustainability is actually a very important aspect for your business.
Yeah. The thing I love those reasons. And the thing I'll also add, which is one that just to go back to the algorithm, but to give numbers, right? The average content viewership is on social 3% or less. And the average open rates, depending on your market and niche, you can tell me if I'm incorrect, but are probably somewhere 25 to 35% still. And
Yeah.
so if we look at an audience of 100, three people see your stuff versus 25 to 35, like all day, every day, I'm spending time getting in front of 25 to 35 people.
Yeah, heck yeah, all day long, right? Yes, and I think that's a really amazing point. Like it's important to know the numbers with all things in business, but knowing like numbers to validate why you would lean on a platform over other platforms can make it really helpful or easy to be like, yes, I'm actually going to put all my eggs in this basket over here because the numbers tell me that's the smart choice.
Yeah, so good. So, can we talk about maybe transition and email marketing? I'd love to start with the conversation of what used to work that you're seeing doesn't really work as
Mm.
effectively now. And then I want to talk about where should we be going in 2026?
Yeah, I think back to your point in the very beginning of the get on my newsletter thing. While newsletters are great and awesome and wonderful, I would argue there's better ways to get people onto your email list. And I know for Amanda, you have a really amazing limited series podcast situation that gets people onto your email list. But there's other things that you can do too. There's more traditional lead magnets that are like downloads or checklists or swipe files. But getting someone onto your email list for a specific thing makes them more qualified as they go through your email marketing to eventually join, your whatever else thing that you have to offer. So like having a free resource or a download that makes sense for that ideal client in the end to enroll in that program is a really great way to grow your email list instead of the generic like get on the newsletter because like what's the point to getting on the newsletter? Why should we? How are we qualifying and making sure that these people are actually right for your email list? And that can be through a very specific niche offer.
Yeah, that's good. I love that you brought up like lead qualification, right? Which is understanding this. I don't know if you run into this, but as coaching coaches who are in their first few clients wanting to fill a roster, one of the greatest opportunities they have is to move away from that I can serve everybody mindset. And one of the things that I'm constantly pushing people on is hyper-specificity. But a great example would be if you have a lead magnet that says, download for 5 healthy breakfast tips. That's good. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it doesn't say for who. And if I could qualify that even more, 5 healthy breakfast tips for moms of school age children to get them out the door fast.
Right.
What we've done is we've already gotten more hyper specific and called out school aged moms. And so what that does is if we're giving an offer for a coaching program that's for school age moms wanting to lose weight or whatever the case is, then we've already done a better job of creating an ascension model. And I think that lead qualification piece you brought up is like
Yeah. I
amazing.
also think it's really important I think people are more skeptical now, which is fine. Like that's a valid thing that people have right now. So the like 5 healthy breakfasts, that's a blog post. So like if you again dial it down into for school age kids to get them out of the door in 30 minutes or less, something like that, like I'm willing to give you my email address because I understand exactly what I'm going to get from that. Whereas the other example, the more broad general example, I can just Google search that. So it also makes it so that you're getting people who actually want to consume that content on your email list, because once they consume it, they get results with you, right? And if we're thinking about qualifying someone for the pitch, having someone who's done that work in the beginning, they're like, yes, okay, this person is for me. I am for them. Like this makes sense for me. It's a lot easier to sell someone as opposed to just general, like a general ideal client.
Yeah, so good. Okay, so we kind of hit both. We kind of were like, okay, newsletter's not working. Here's how to go hyper specificity. But are there other things that you feel like are not working that used to that you're seeing?
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of putting video in emails because it makes you a real person. And in the world of AI, which is great and wonderful and has a place, I do think people are craving more nowadays human connection. I know you're big on this too, Amanda. So putting things like videos inside of emails and making them before we could have these like big, long scrolling emails that were kind of like a blog post. I think that's died because of people's attention spans. I think they're shorter now, but having like a video that is still short but helps them to understand something or to actually do something so that again they're more qualified for your pitch can be a really powerful tool. It should be consumable, it should be captioned so that they can watch it, while they're sitting in baseball bleachers and not disturbing their neighbors. But having like touch points like that, or like you have a really cool reply strategy, like you get your folks to actually reply to you, um, so that they can get something like that has that personal touch. So I think the days of long emails that don't have a human connection to them are over. I think when you can incorporate a video strategy or like a reply strategy, I think that that can really help to foster that connection and qualify them more for your program.
I love all those things. Totally agree. It also makes me think of, can you speak for a second? And I don't want to spend too much time because this could be more of a complex conversation, but there's a balance of aesthetic versus deliverability. Because I remember last year at this time of year, we're like, we're gonna work on a really aesthetic, punchy look to our emails, and our deliverability tanked.
Yeah.
And we're like, shoot, scrap that. And long story, we needed to like do some behind the scenes work, but also really more than 3 images in an email, just send everybody to promotion. So do you have any like best practices to get emails into the inbox for people that are struggling with deliverability?
Yeah. So if you haven't set up your DMARC stuff, and I honestly, I don't know exactly what that is. I just know it's like the back end of your email marketing. It works with Google. So if you haven't set that up and like your domain and things like that, that needs to be set up. So work with an email marketing like tech person to set that up for you. So I think that's number one for sure.
Yeah, that was
But
kind of our
exactly what you said.
for sure.
Yes. I remember I did this like when it first kind of became a thing, and I just outsourced it because I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Yes, I could probably follow someone's like step-by-step process, but like at the end of the day, this like tech piece is not me. So like let's just hire somebody to do that.
Yeah,
Because
totally.
again, if I'm going to sell mostly through email marketing, I need to make sure my stuff is getting to where it needs to go. So it made sense for me. The other thing is exactly what you said. So clear is better than clever. I believe that's the expression. So
Yes, it is.
simple text emails will get delivered over emails with lots of pretty things in them. I know we all want images. I know we all want like fancy things in our emails, but at the end of the day, that can tank your deliverability. So if I were like starting out and just like getting my email list up and running and maybe like getting consistent with newsletters or writing my first email funnel, simple text. You can always drive traffic to other places that maybe are prettier, like a video or like a landing page or things like that. But like simple text to just make it very clear for people as to what they're supposed to do and how you want them to interact. Then, once you get that deliverability up and going, you can start to add in things like video or text or images those more dynamic things and see if that affects your deliverability. If it doesn't, move on, like continue. And if it does, go back to the text only things.
So good. Simple, simple, simple. Love
Keep
it.
it easy. Because like if it's too, also like sometimes those images, sometimes like those scrolling text or, whatever you have, those really cool features are distracting for people. So they get it. They're so fixated by the, the GIF or the scrolling thing that they're not actually doing and consuming the email. They're just like, oh, this is really cool. Right. So it's like a bright, shiny object that like distracts
Yeah.
them from what you actually want them to do.
And I also like to point to most users are looking from their cell phone. I think it's like 75 to 80% of users are looking at our email through the phone. And so sometimes those aren't loading or they take too long to load. And if it takes too long to load, like I'm out, like I'm going to just move on. So we want to keep it super simple for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
I should have, I feel like, started with this question, but it came up in my brain as you were talking. I think there's a huge undercurrent here, though, that I feel like we kind of bypassed, and I see my people struggle with, and that I know I did earlier on. You just said something that like triggered it for me is if you're going to use email marketing to sell. And I think in the beginning, I really saw email marketing as a nurturing place where I developed a relationship with my people. And it is like dating. And I don't disagree with that to this day. But over time, as I got more clear, is I also had to shift my mindset to understand that the reason I have built this is to bring in clients that I can serve. Just like my favorite boutique where I go shopping, she opened the doors not for me to come look, but to buy. And so I've had to shift my mindset. And my mindset now is when I send emails, people like want to work with me. Like I have to embody that deeply because otherwise I spend a crap ton of time writing to my list the most vulnerable email and then like freaking crickets, right? Which I actually do think there's a place for that. Like I
For
think
sure.
there is
Yeah.
this place. I don't think this is either or, but I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on the mindset around selling or strategy. Like can you just tell like get into Allison's brain around this topic?
Yeah. Well, I think that, as coaches, as people who are really good at the thing we do and we really want to help people, it can be easy to fall into the mindset of like, oh, I just want to help people. And yes, that's great and wonderful. But the best way that you can help someone is by selling them into your program because that's where they get all the goods. That's where they get all the support that you have to offer and your brain and your, expertise. And like, that's what you do. So the best way that you can actually help someone is by having them buy your program, whatever the thing is that you do. So I think like that's first and foremost. I also think people get all up in their heads about email and like what to say because they don't know the point of the emails. So I'm a fan of selling in every single email, but selling doesn't necessarily mean like pay me money for this thing. It can mean you're selling them on an idea or a thought or a process or this really awesome client testimonial and like let's celebrate this person or hey, I have this episode of my podcast I want you to listen to. So like selling doesn't necessarily mean buy, but it can be a part of that sales process. So like you might listen to this episode and then be like, holy guacamole, I need to listen to Amanda or I need to, work with Amanda. And you're not selling right now, but by driving traffic to this episode, it's a way of selling, right? So I think like a lot of times it's people got really all up in their heads because they don't know the point of the emails. So like
That's
have an
good.
attention, have an objection or have a like objective for the email. And I think it makes it a whole lot easier to write and sell, whatever selling looks like for you.
So good. And we don't need to talk about our program in every single email. I just want to reiterate that. Allison said that as well in her own way. And that's definitely definitely I see a mistake. It's needy and graspy. That's not the point. And sometimes like, we're finding very short emails that are going out with people engaging. I'm not selling to all those people. I'm having conversations. I'm sending them to podcast episodes. I'm bringing them into free workshops. I am getting on the phone and having sales conversations if possible. But the first is like have the conversation so you can qualify the lead and know what kind of place they're at in their business and what kind of support they need.
Yeah, and it goes exactly what you just said. What kind of support do they need? So it might be a sales call. It might be they need to listen to a podcast episode. People are in your world in different parts of their journey. I'm not saying you need to be everything to everyone, but like if you know what those parts of their journey are, it makes it really easier to, again, like know the objective of the emails.
Yeah, totally. One last thing that I wanted to touch on is if you check out Allison's social, she's on IG specifically. I'll drop her link to her social platform in the show notes for the episode. But sporadically, you're kind of inspiring me actually because I like this, but I would do it in my own way. But occasionally, you have these little pieces like where the heck did the sale come from?
Yeah.
And it's pointing back to some of your email marketing funnels and understanding that I'm going to say this in my words. This isn't necessarily your words, but I look at it. There are long runways to sales and short runways to sales. At least that's how we look at it. But can you speak from just like a high level around the beauty of having some of these funnels and understanding they're doing that work for you while you sleep, right? Which is what your initial motivation was, and just kind of speak to that for the audience.
Yeah. So I created the series because one of the biggest questions or the most commonly asked questions I get is like, what is an actual email funnel? Like, I don't actually understand, like intellectually understand how it works, but like practicality, like what is it? So I created the series to like answer that question. But the cool thing about email funnels is that they like exactly what you said. They can literally sell while you sleep for you. So like I think it's important to know that just because you had, a sale that you ran or a promotion or open cart, whatever you want to call it, a couple weeks ago doesn't mean that people still shouldn't be able to buy from you now, right? While that promotion may be over, that specific thing that you launched, a couple weeks ago is over, there's still other things I'm sure that you have in your business that you can buy. And so, or that people can buy. So one of my main motivators behind creating like longer email funnels was that I could sell something every single day because I love nothing more than when I'm sitting on the baseball field and like I've been there for 5 hours and I'm tired and like I have very little motivation left in me to see like a sale come through. I just think that's so freaking cool and just like reiterates so many
Yeah.
points. Right. My phone sends me text messages when I get sales and I love it. It just makes me so happy. Um, so like the reason why I had this series was to like, and the reason why I leaned into email funnels and email marketing is so that it could facilitate that for me and for my business. And it would give people different ways to get into my world to buy from me so that I could, serve them in the way that they serve. Did that answer your question at
It
all?
was so perfect. And I love that for you that you're at baseball games and sales come in because I feel that excitement. I'll turn to Justin and be like, I literally woke up and we have new students. Like I'm so excited to meet them.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting. And then for me, there's this deep sense, it like makes me emotional talking about it, but it's like there's this deep sense of pride I have knowing like I did that, like I built that from scratch and not alone, right? I've had mentorship and friends that are alongside, but we are kind of in a silo much of the time testing things. And to know that like we had this idea in our mind that we were able to breathe life into is like, oh yeah, thank you, God. I'm in my purpose right now. And you just reaffirmed like this work matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Last night I was brushing my teeth, like getting ready to go to bed, and I had my watch on still, and a sale came through for like an annual membership for my membership, and I was like, "This is like what it's about right here." Like, yes, I get to help this person, and that's so cool, and I love that they trust me with their email marketing. It's so cool, but also like I just made 4 figures. Like that's
Yeah.
so
So
freaking
good.
cool. While I was brushing my teeth.
I'm so happy for you. I love that for you so much. Well, thank you. This has been super powerful. I hope for our listeners, if you take nothing from this, it should be that in 2026, email marketing should be a part of your strategy. And if you're like, why haven't I done this yet? Don't worry, you're right on time. Um, and I believe that you'll see like so many fruits come from implementing an email marketing strategy or just doubling down on one and making it work better or whatever the case is. So, and if you want to learn more from Allison, what I would love for you to just share where our people can connect with you and learn more.
Yeah. So I hang out on Instagram, Allison_Hardy_. I have a podcast currently. It is called Six Figure Secrets. Amanda is going to be an amazing guest on there, so listen to her episode. But in 2026, it's going to be called Email Empires, which I'm very excited about.
Yes, I'm
Um,
so excited for you because that SEO aligns so much more with your genius. Yes.
we were talking about I was talking about this with Amanda earlier. I was like, your podcast is so SEO friendly. So yeah, you just said that. So thank you. And then I have a free gift. It's called the $80,000 email template. It's like a template that you can use of the exact email that brought in $80,000 in sales for my business last year. You can copy and paste
So
put it in
juicy.
your funnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see some sales coming from it.
I love it. Well, thank you for being so generous and sharing your ideas, your freebie. All of the juicy stuff will be linked in the show notes. And yeah, just thank you for being taking out this space in your busy life to share with my audience. I am so grateful. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful for you.